That is good. I am glad that we can see level with this.
Anthony.
Again, there's like a slight pause as he's bringing the goblet up to his lips, and then he continues drinking.
And then what?
And then hopefully we have peace and prosperity. The Elector Counts can set to finding, well, while he is irreplaceable, finding the successor to my late uncle.
Do you not believe it to be yourself?
I think he kind of puts his arms out and says, I am at the whim of the Elector Counts, as are we all. If they decide that I am the most suitable, I would not turn it down, as would most others, I assume, in that position.
Then I am asking you personally, Anthony, who do you think is worthy of the title of Emperor?
For a long moment, he just looks, and I think he says, worth comes in many forms. There are many who have more than others, and many who have different worth than others. If you are asking as my personal worth, I am, as they say, quite silver-tongued. I am good with people, at least those in the political functionality. I am not bad with a sword at my hip, but certainly I would never state that I was the best. I worship my gods and pay them their heed, but perhaps less so than others, more so than most, I would say. And I think most importantly is I carry a voice, not only of myself, but of those that are around me, my peers. I have always been one to speak for them. Perhaps this is my worth. What of you, Morella? What is your worth?
She smirks when he asks her this, and just looks. You dodged my question.
I think he just smiles.
I
don't think I don't think he answers. I think he just smiles and sips some wine.
So you believe yourself to be the most worthy of the title. Is that correct? You are what some may say well-rounded for the title.
I think that there are many that would state that, yes.
She kind of looks off in the distance. I would agree.
Yeah, and I think that, the glass stays at his lips, slightly too long, and you can see, his eyebrows are working, and, he didn't expect that answer. And then he pulls the glass and he sets it down, kind of on the table out of his reach, and he says, no. I can say that, well, one hears a great many things in a position such as mine. And I had, well, let's say information that you perhaps thought yourself worthy of the position of Empress,
I
as
did,
it were.
Anthony.
Again, there's
very
a moment
adamantly,
of,
I still believe I am worthy of a title such as that. However, I'm not childish or petty to just believe that I am the only one destined for it anymore. I am destined for something else. As you, I believe, are destined to follow in your uncle's footsteps.
Yeah, and I think he leans back and kind of steeples his hands under his chin, and he says, "Is that a show of support, Lady Fairheart of Talapime.
It is a show of this. I understand your worth, and I am placing the need of my people ahead of my own hubris. You are what is best for the people, not me, for the title.
That is quite humble of you. I would say this. Your worth is higher than I think you believe. There are members of the various orders who look up to you, especially your prowess, your drive, your determination. This is something I cannot offer. Perhaps there can be some sort of accord reached.
Yes, I know of this accord. It is not hard to figure out, especially with the talk that I had with Akadi earlier.
Ah, yes. The ambassador does like to talk, doesn't he?
He does. It is what he does best. But, Anthony, swear to me this, that you will be the best leader, the best emperor for these people.
Yeah, and I think he stands up to meet your gaze.
Yeah.
And I think he says, I will, as long as you swear to me this, Morella. That you will be the champion of the future emperor. That you will uphold the laws to the best of your ability and guide the people from the front while they are commanded from the rear.
She smiles at that and shakes her head. I am what the people need me to be the most.
Of this I have no doubt. And, dare I say it, long live the Fairheart line. As long-lived as the Cahills may be.
Which, I need to ask of you something.
And I think kind of jokingly he says, Oh? Have you not asked so much already?
I do believe this is the only question I've asked. At least, one that is of sheer importance.
Very well.
If I were to fall, I wish for my successor to be Farron Mackay. He will reinstate the Fairheart name if this happens. And you will ensure this.
That is something that can be arranged, certainly.
Of course, if my father is still alive, he will be the head holder of the family name until his passing.
I will ensure that this is done. Of course, since we are speaking hypothetically of losing those in battle and future, perhaps, emperors.
Yes. Oh.
I must admit something to you in confidence. Since we are having this conversation, I feel it is only fair, since you have revealed information to me, that I reveal information to you.
Honesty is a virtue that I look for.
Good.
What is it?
This may take some time, but an emperor cannot be without, well, an emperor or an empress, whichever it shall be, cannot be without their own line. You would agree?
Agreed.
And since it seems that we have each other's blessing, perhaps you can help me plan an event that I am hosting. I wish to do this before we become embroiled. It will inspire the people, the men and women that fight for us. And I think it would only be fair if the future Emperor's champion is in on the ground floor, as they say.
Of course. Though, I do want to add one thing, which again is the only question I ask. She smirks as she says that.
Yes, that seems to be a saying.
I wish for me, alone, to be the one that kills Anders Wilhelm.
Um,
Well,
Close enough. I think he nods and he says, I believe that is the right of the hand of the Emperor. Now, about this event. What do you know of planning weddings? And I think that that's where we fade out of that conversation. Arkady, what are you doing?
Yo. Oh, who's left that he needs to talk to? Cahill and Merle are still there. Oh, yes, he wants to go talk to the general and find out what's up with the unexpected bear reinforcements.
Yeah, totally. That's where I was going. I should have just said, do you want to go talk to Anastasia Ivanova? Yeah, and I think they're not hard to find. They are not as integrated in the army. They are their own unit. And so you probably have to ride a little bit, through the town and then onto the other side of the town, where you can kind of see campfires with the smoke rising into the sky and the low hanging, I think notably it's probably a bunch of hide tents for Kislevites as opposed to like the cloth ones of the Empire. And so they have kind of like this dull brownish color to all of their tents. And you can hear the kind of dull roars and scuffles that the bears are making. And also I think that as soon as you enter kind of into the vicinity of the encampment, the smells of home begin to assail you. The smoked meats that are coming off of the campfires, the general kind of musk of animals, and perhaps remind you of home a bit.
It has been a long time.
Yes. And as you get there, you're met by probably a couple of guards who kind of like they greet you, and one of them says, "Hail, friend. What is it that we can do for you today?"
Arkady Petrov wishes to speak with General Ivanova.
Yeah, and you see, like, they kind of look at each other, and I say, "Very well. I was unaware that there were any of our clansmen here. Is there a specific title that I should introduce you as?"
Is little matter. I am ambassador from the Ice Queen to the Empire, but here I am. Well, no, I suppose I am also on the War Council. Is unimportant.
Yeah, and
she
I think
will know Petrov's name or she will not.
Yeah, and I think they kind of like look at each other, and the second one goes off, kind of running into the encampment. And probably within 5 minutes of waiting, the halfling woman that we recognize, Anastasia Ivanova, she emerges, and you can see she's like strapping on like bracers and like pulling gloves on, and she kind of like walks over and she says, Is that Ambassador Petrov that I see?
Ah, your eyes do not deceive you.
You are a
Impressive.
long way from outdoor, friend.
And you have come a long way from Kislev. Your presence is most welcome, but thoroughly unexpected.
Yeah, a surprise to be sure, but a welcome one. Yeah, I think she says, let us not stand out here in this humidity. Come, we will drink meat and eat some meats. And she leads you kind of through the encampment, and you can see she's with, there's like a couple of probably like guardsmen with her, and she begins explaining to you as you're walking. She says, yes, we have traveled far, but it is one thing to be at the Ice Queen's whim. She sent us here after a missive was received from the Empire. They say that Middenheim has fallen. What do you have to say about this? Is this true?
I have not seen the city for it myself, but by all accounts, yes. Forces led by believed to be a fallen paladin have taken the city and filled the countryside with a menagerie of thoroughly unpleasant beasts. I gather you have encountered some yourself.
Stragglers mostly, but we certainly have seen some irregular activities. I cannot believe that Middenheim has truly fallen, though. If Middenheim has fallen, then will be an easy task for the rest of the Empire too. It is by far their most unassailable location. I would know. I was once instructed to figure out how to defeat it.
Yes. I imagine prolonged siege should be most effective, but regardless, I suspect the city itself is less bereft of Imperial citizens than they would like us to believe. We have not had word from inside city, but a force that could take the city so quickly and then deploy itself to the surrounding lands in such great speed as well, when the people must know how to hide in their tunnels and within their fortresses. No, I do not think that Middenheim has become Wilhelm's personal fortress yet.
Yeah, she kind of nods and she says, then that is good. Perhaps there is light at the end of the tunnel, as they say. But, Ambassador, I'm sure that you had more than just idle chit-chat for me. It is good to see you, yes, and I am to meet with this, they call it a war council, tonight, with this Cahill. What is the make of this man? Is he worthy of my attention?
He seems capable and reliable enough. I think it is likely that they will name him their new emperor soonly.
Then it would be good to make his acquaintance and let him know our power should he decide to think differently of Kislev.
I have already advised him on this matter. I feel he is... he shall be a reliable ally. If not, I am also good friends with his most likely successor, who is an extremely violent and determined woman.
Yeah, and she kind of like nods. She's like, perhaps that is better, but I leave it to your capable hands, Ambassador. I am but a bloodthirsty general, as they say.
But yes, you, he's mouthing the bloodthirsty part for a moment. I had not requested soldiers out of Kislev. Surely the Eastern Front cannot already have been so thoroughly secured as to be able to sacrifice so many. I was told it was terrible times in the homeland.
Yeah, and I think she actually kind of like, she does the thing where she scratches the back of her head and is kind of like, well, that is the thing, Ambassador. It is not like we have ever seen. One moment we were beset upon, and the next, nothing. There was no reinforcements, no battles. It was as if they had just all picked up and left. The front has been silent.
Well, that is deeply unsettling on many levels, which I have no doubt you have already considered. And so, I suppose, yes, this frees you to join us here in the retaking of Middenheim. We have no understanding of this. These forces, they retreat and disappear. No explanation.
Not that we could find. We pushed north, well into the northern wastes. We could find no foe to fight. We even pushed into Troll country. None of the resistance was there. As if something else has drawn the attention. We have not had contact with the dwarves, but perhaps they mounted an assault that drew the forces back. It is hard to say.
In such numbers, it seems improbable unless they have something that could cause even an army of chaos to feel fear. Regardless, this is no time to question our good fortune, not when Middenheim is on the horizon.
Indeed, this is the greatest threat to Kislev as well as the Empire. We were able to find some things out, though, that perhaps we can relay tonight at the council. It seems as though the men and women of Ostland, they described to us this holding, supposedly where this force came from. It is called the Brass Keep. Have you ever heard of it?
That is a good question, to which I do not know the in-character answer.
You could roll a history check and see.
Spectacular.
Oh, yeah. So the Brass Keep, you probably know of the legend of it, because it is kind of in your zone of control. So the Brass Keep is a stronghold, that was said to be the last bastion of chaos. The only surviving fort against the reign of Sigmar. Is the only one he was unable to upset, but they say that there is a strange happenstance that occurs with the Brass Keep in which if someone can tap into the power that it holds, they can actually move the holding to different locations. The original location has been lost to stories and myth, but it is said that every so often when a capable sorcerer or wizard is able to gain control of it, they are able to summon the demons that reside within to assail wherever they may want to go. Mostly it's myth and legend. It's probably an old folktale in Ostland and even Kislev, probably. But the General Ivanova, she says, it is being said that this Wilhelm, that he has enlisted the services of a great sorcerer of unknown origin. That it is possible, at least this is how the people of Ostland tell it, that he possesses one of the 7 great works of Nagash. You don't need to roll to see who Nagash is. I assume you know. And if you don't... I
believe I recall that he was the inventor of necromancy.
He is indeed the originator...
Oh my god, it's finally happened.
He's the originator of necromancy. He developed the entire school of magic.
Are we going to finally get into what you originally described in the description 2 years ago?
No, that's totally somebody. That's totally some other people, but yes.
Right. So,
and I think that when she finishes saying that, she goes, but I tend not to believe the men of Ostland. They have dull minds, and working so closely in the Forest of Shadows has only made them paranoid.
Yeah, paranoia can be useful. But how... If this is the Brass Keep, certainly that would allow, by legend, a great force to enter Middenheim.
Perhaps
But
undetected.
how would they know this? Surely it would not pass through. They would not have seen a castle flying overhead.
I am but a simple spear maiden. I do not know how this magic may work. Perhaps it is not that the keep moves, perhaps it can move creatures? I am not sure.
Yeah. Regardless, this will be undoubtedly vital for the council. You have done well.
She kind of just like shrugs and is like, it is only a rumor, but it is the best information we were able to gather in our journey.
And far more than we have heard.
Well, I am glad to bring it to your attention then, Ambassador. Is there much else that you need? Or should we
suppose
perhaps
not.
prepare for this council?
Yes, if Kislev is safe, or at least allowed a reprieve, then yes, all attention to Middenheim. I have advice to offer the council.
Yeah, and I think she says, Kislev is never safe, as they understand it here in the Empire, but it is...
But you are not the Empire.
It is holding for a time. Come, let us finish our mead and be on our way to this council of the Empire. I am interested to see the politics that they hold here. I have been but only once inside of the borders.
It has been a fascinating experience, let me tell you.
And I think she says, are we liable to see any dueling? That is a thing that comes up quite often in Kislev, as you know.
I believe the most likely duel has been effectively avoided.
That is a shame.
At this point, you hear in the distance Hannibal shouting, "I challenge you to a duel!"
Yeah, that seems likely.
She goes, that is a shame. Perhaps I will challenge someone myself for some sport. Come, let us be off.
And thus, you've done it, Jordan.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, by the way, do I technically now have a seat at the council now that I'm a general?
So generals are not technically part of the council. The council are like the ruling lords and ladies. But all the generals would be in attendance for this particular meeting. Because
Awesome.
this is kind of like, this is going to be like, you're going to go into the last push here, right? Towards midnight.
So the council's the nobles, the generals are like
Correct, yeah.
underneath the nobles.
Yeah, think of what we just talked about between Cahill and Morella. Cahill's the lord, Morella's the general, right?
Okay.
It's like
Yeah,
it's the left and the right hand of the empire, right?
The best analogy is like a 1-star general sitting in at like a president's cabinet meeting.
Right, yeah,
That makes so much sense. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. So the big tent is rolled out, the big war tent, and a big table is aligned in there, and we see Arcadi, you probably arrive a little bit later than some individuals. And people are being seated in specific areas. And you see at the head of the table sits Cahill, and to his right sits Aelin, and to his left sits Morella. And so those two specifically are given 2 seats of honor at the end of the table, followed by the rest of the council: Lord Gromberg, Lady Tolsbeck, Lady Schwinn, Lord Tenderfoot, and then a couple of other nobles, specifically Lady Lufberg, the Inquisitor is here as well, in addition to all of the generals. Kree is also there. Hannibal is there. You are given a seat somewhere in between the nobles and the generals, kind of at the same ranking as the Inquisitor, kind of right there in that middle portion.
That's good. That's good.
And obviously a seat for Ivanova as well, next to you. Also, there are a couple of members of some of the magic orders. Specifically, Garthun is here, the High Priest of Mor. A couple of other mages and sorcerers that you know throughout have some seats here in with the generals. And generally, everybody's kind of arriving around this time, and there's like the kind of that general din of commotion. And then food is spilling in. It's become like a feast, right? It's like a dinner. And it's all very kind of casual for a while. Everybody's kind of eating and carousing a little bit, and once like the main course has been brought in, it's very delicious and it's good. It's clearly like made from the town of Grimmenhagen. Once the main course is done, Cahill stands up, and the silence kind of falls over the people, and he says, "Lords, ladies, generals, visitors, ambassadors, inquisitors."
Oh God, is there more than one?
No, there's only one. He says...
Inquisitor.
Yeah, he says, "We all know why we are here. We are here because it is time to speak of our final push. There is no doubt in any of our minds that we must retake Middenheim from the enemy. But, most importantly, we must do so swiftly and with purpose. There are a great many other things occurring in the Empire that we must deal with. This is but the first. I open the discussion to anyone who wish to balance ideas, perhaps strategies. I, for one, am at the mercy of you all, my advisors, my friends, my peers. What say you?" And when he says that, he kind of like sits down, and you see him. He kind of like looks at Morella as he sits down, and then he looks over at Aelin as he sits down. And nobody's really mentioned it, but it's weird that they're up there.
Mm-hmm.
But nobody's been like bold enough to just be like, why do they have the most representative seats in the area, right? So there are probably a couple of people that like the table is cleared and out comes like a general map of the area, the map that we see. There's general like commotion going on, and a lot of it is kind of like between like these two people are talking and then these three people are having a conversation, and occasionally everything will calm down and somebody will make us like, we need to do this. It's the general kind of commotion din. If anybody has any suggestions or things they would like to do or ideas, feel free to step in at any time.
I mean, Petrov just felt like it would be rude to be the first person to speak up.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. Hannibal is going to say, "I don't believe that we should all charge. I believe that we should make a straight line towards Middenheim. However, I don't believe it is a smart idea to try to break through a single point. Surround the city first, then try to break in. Divert their forces."
Yeah, and Lord Gromberg says, "Yes, this is good, but as we know, the city of Middenheim, it has 3 bridges. Until we know what state these are in, we perhaps cannot assail. The ravine that encircles the city is impossible to get around. There are rumors that there may be tunnels. I myself have never been to Middenheim, so I would not be able to say for sure if these are accessible to us."
In that case, I suggest that I can lead a group of men ahead and possibly scout these tunnels. That'll be a great way to catch them by surprise.
If I may, General, I feel the catacombs of Middenheim are perhaps not an ideal place to take an army of our numbers, especially not if they may be already filling with the forces of our foe, or for that matter, the people of the city still taking shelter.
No, but at least an elite task force to perhaps open gates.
Exactly. We don't
Yes.
need to send the entire army through the underneath. We just need to send a few in to disrupt everything.
Quite
To also
agreed.
note, we do not have the resources or the rations for a full-out siege. Not on Middenheim.
Yeah, and I think specifically Lady Tolsbeck, who you spoke with earlier, she says, General Kree is correct. We do not have rations enough to hold out for more than perhaps a month.
So we need to make it a decisive attack.
Well then, if we are looking to open the gates from within, I believe I have an advantageous opportunity for us. Certain contacts and resources of mine have offered a swift path inside the city.
Oh.
The head turns.
Yeah, and I think Cahill is like, yes, Ambassador, speak up. How do we do this? How many are we talking?
A very few, I think. There is... I'm a little unsure how much he would be willing to share about this, but I guess, they're not his secrets to keep.
Yeah.
Within the city, somewhat less used than it may have been once, and certainly well guarded in the past, there is a teleportation circle. An individual who was familiar with the sigils of the circle could open the gate, take a handful of, as you say, elite agents through deep inside the city instantaneously.
Yeah, and I think for the first time, the Inquisitor, the High Inquisitor, he kind of speaks and he says, how do we know we can trust whoever this individual is?
Because
Well.
he's from Kislev, and they would be definitely hurting the most if the Empire fell right now.
I suspect he means, how can you trust my contacts, yes?
That is what I ask.
Yes, well, you make interesting point, but as my contacts obviously are your own country people, I feel it would be their choice what steps they might wish to take. They have approached me to make this offer. If you are willing to trust me, it would seem that the business may be handled swiftly, yes? There are certainly loyal children of the Empire who nevertheless prefer to avoid close attention, yes?
Yeah, and I think that, so Robert Hunter, the leader of the Bright Order, is probably here. And he's probably sitting, like, next to you, Hannibal, because you guys are close. And, he probably says something under his breath that you kind of make out, Hannibal, but you don't quite hear what he said.
What?
And, like, Robert kind of, like, looks at you and he's like, thinking that he didn't mean to speak. He's like, he speaks of, well, there's really no other way to say it. He speaks of the Grey Order. This sounds like their work.
Obviously, I could not possibly confirm or deny.
Can I make a check to see if I know what the Grey Order is?
Everybody knows what the Grey Order is. It's whether or not you believe the Grey Order exists or not.
Yeah.
The Grey Order as a concept is well known to most people in the Empire. Whether or not you choose to believe it exists is a different story. And the Inquisitor, you see him for a moment, he kind of, like, looks, and he slowly stands up from the table and he says, "The Order of Sigmar will have no dealings with deviants and fiends. Choose what you will, Lord Cahill, but know that we do not approve this action."
Mm-hmm.
Wow,
Wow, it's a big shock that the Order of Sigmar doesn't approve of something.
Yeah, and he's not the only one. There are others who are kind of murmuring and standing back at the table. And the Inquisitor, like, pulls out his chair, and he says, "Thank you for entertaining me, Lord Cahill, but I will take my leave now." And before he leaves, he, like, knowingly glances at you, Aelin, and gives you a long stare. And turns on his heel and leaves, and he's probably not the only one. There are a smattering of individuals inside of the room that probably kind of look at each other, and some of them get up. Maybe it's for fear of the Inquisitor, maybe it is for fear of the Grey Order, maybe it is for some other reason, who knows. But kind of in silence, a group of people leave. And you see Lord Cahill, he's got, like, his finger, like, rubbing his temple. And he says, "Well, nothing can be done about that now. Ambassador, tell me of this plan. I think I may know someone who would like to lead it." And as he says that, he kind of turns to Morella.
Yeah, I would imagine details are simple. Once once your chosen agents are brought inside city, they may investigate, they may find valuable targets, they may confer with civilian resistance, which I have no doubt loyal children of the Empire will not simply lie down and allow beasts such as these to walk through their streets. And yes, perhaps most importantly, when time comes for our own forces to arrive, those of your men and the lizard folk and Kislev, then perhaps they can see to it that the gates are open.
Well, Morella, Lady Fairheart, let's say you were tasked with this. Who do you bring? Who are your most trusted allies? From what it sounds, it cannot be more than 15 at least. It sounds as though the window for this opportunity is short and small. And it might be a one-way trip. Who goes with you?
She, like, lets that question hang for a bit, and she says, "I believe for something so grave, I may need to take time for this. One day is all I ask. And I will consult with the ones that I feel are suited for this mission, if they are willing to do it or not."
Very well. One day you shall have. Consult with those. Be sure to report back who says yes and who says no. We must give them the highest honors as they depart.
Yes.
Ambassador.
Of course.
Would you take Morella to introduce her to this contact of yours? perhaps they can provide us with more information to allow her to make her decision easier.
Yeah, I think this could be arranged, yes.
Very well. So let it be done. If no one has anything else further, we can resume discussions of what the rest of us will do in the morn. You are all dismissed. Thank you. And slowly people begin standing up. Arkady, I assume you go get Marilla.
Mm-hmm.
And Farron, right? Because Farron goes with you everywhere.
I'm also going to Morella.
Okay. Kree and Aelin, what are you guys doing?
I'm probably... Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, I think that Aelin would get up to leave. She has things to do.
I think briefly for a moment, before you get up, Cahill squeezes your hand just like a little bit and gives you a smile and a nod.
She smiles back.
Almost as if to say, like, you know, don't be too long.
She nods, then leaves.
Okay. Kree?
I actually want to go and talk to the noblewoman who was talking about the rations. I already forgot her name.
Lady Tollsbeck.
Lady Tollsbeck.
She's the one who
yes.
came and asked you about him earlier, yeah.
Yes.
But we'll get to that. I think the last scene that we see, Arkady, you're leading Farron and Hannibal and Morella. And you lead them to a place where Mel told you to be.
Right.
And when you get there, the group of you see Mel, kind of, you know, she's probably like sitting on a barrel, eating an apple because she's always got fruit. And she takes a bite and she's chewing it and she looks at you and she says, "Is this all? Will more come, or are we simply just here to bandy about our words?"
Lady Fairheart has been given responsibility for leading incursion into city. She requests to meet with agent who will be enabling the entry.
She kind of looks at Marilla and she smiles a little and she says, "Yes, I think that can be arranged. Ambassador, as much as I appreciate your assistance, I would prefer to keep my contacts away from your prying eyes, if you understand."
I will take it only as a sign of respect, and I will take my leave of you for now.
I would expect no different from you, Ambassador. Thank you. So Arkady departs, and she goes, "Very well. Come with me."
Not with her too?
Yeah, no, she takes the three of you.
Fuck yeah, I need a contact in the Grey Order.
And she leads you around a couple of bends and kind of off out of the village, kind of into the trees a little bit. And she stops in a place and she kind of looks around and she goes, and emerging from the darkness, and coming up to greet you, almost walking silently through the fallen leaves and branches along the ground, a figure steps into the light, and kind of raises their head and pulls back their hood. And Morella, you recognize this individual, although he perhaps looks a bit older or more wizened than when you last saw him.
Yeah.
And he says,
Listen up, Fives, the 10 is talking.
and of course you recognize this individual as none other than Jericho Tannhauser.
Ah!
Can we just leave it off that? Please.
Yeah, no, that's the last thing we see before we end.
Yay.
Jericho.
Alright.
Oh, dude, I honestly thought it was Milo. I honestly thought it was fucking Milo.
By the way, hold on. I'd like to vote Jericho to receive inspiration.
Holy shit.
So, we shall see how that develops in the next session.
Yeah, for real.
Welcome back, Jericho.
Howdy.
Are you playing again as Jericho?
Absolutely.
That is a real thing that's happening.
Jesus.
So, inspiration. Who do you all vote should gain inspiration in this?
I don't even fucking
Jericho.
know at this point.
Jericho. Jericho.
Thank you. Thank you.
Jericho receives inspiration. Congratulations, Jericho.
I don't even know anymore.
Jordan gets inspiration.
I developed very little of this, to be fair.
By the way, Brian, fuck you.
Wow.
What did he do?
Look at General.
I didn't know, Megan, you had a law in the state of Arkansas, but, I mean... Anyway. One of my inspirations is going to go to Morella, very obviously, for her role-playing scene with Cahill and how that all played out. I think it was super awesome and appropriate, and I really liked it.
Wait, were you giving me inspiration again?
I am, yes.
Still have it.
Well...
I haven't made a single roll this session. It's not my fault.
That's my fault if you haven't made a single roll. That's fine. My other one is going to go to...
rolling session.
I think my other one's going to go to Hannibal. Because of his character development into this kind of strange general... The growth of that character is really intriguing to me, and I'm happy that it's taken in the direction that it was taken. So, Hannibal, you can also have inspiration.
Oh, that's nice. There's one problem though.
Do you already have it?
Yeah.
You definitely made rolls this session, so I don't want to hear.
I made one or two rolls. I made an Arcana roll, and I made
And one of them used
a
Tides of
perception roll.
Chaos.
Yeah, and I used my Arcana roll with Tides of Chaos.
It was a very roleplay heavy session. What can I say?
Also, I didn't really care.
Yeah, I mean...
But... Oh, by the way, real quick, Jordan, I want you to see my new Eldritch Blast.
Okay.
I think you'll appreciate it.
Oh,
You see
boy.
yourself?
Okay. Yeah, that's great. That's amazing.
That's glorious.
Anyway, that's all I have for you guys. I'd like to thank everyone for being here. Next week, we will find out what Jericho's been up to and how he plans on getting you all into Middenheim. And by you all, I mean whoever Morella chooses to go on this mission.
It's going to be the recruitment. That's the tough part.
Yeah, that might be the tough part. We will have to see.
Yep. Oh yeah, definitely. She's already got probably like half the total, quote unquote, filled out, but
We shall see.
she's also asking, not demanding.
Yeah, and there will also be additions that are forced upon you.
I mean, of course.
Because Mel's going.
I
Absolutely.
figured. I figured.
That bitch!
Really?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, there's a reason why
Fair
we
enough.
brought her here.
The mission is to bring her to Middenheim. You guys still haven't completed that.
Father. She is father. Oh God, what if it turns out she's gonna betray us? She's gonna fucking betray us. She's betraying us.
I mean, I accepted that fate long ago. I figured she's an agent of chaos secretly that is with Vampire Lady, and they're going to take Middenheim from within, reinforce it, and then literally just raffle stomp everyone
man, I cannot
while
wait.
she cackles with the wine, with the goblet of wine.
I cannot wait till we have our discussion at the end of the arc, where we reveal everything?
That'll be fun.
God, do I have a story for you all?
So, that's all I have. I'm going to do the outro. I'll either talk to you guys in a few minutes or see you next week. It was great. It was wonderful. Thank you all for showing up. Next time you guys see Will, make sure you yell at him because I had some shit for Farron today, but
I know.
I had to change that shit around.
I gave him such an important scene too. I wanted him so bad to be here, and I was like, man, he's not here. What a little shitter. I'm gonna have to stab him.
Behind the curtain, Farron was the one that was supposed to talk to Mel about this whole mission thing. Just because it would have been easier, but that asshole wasn't here.
What are you gonna do?
So, that's all I got. I'll talk to you guys in a few minutes, or I'll see you next week.
Bye, stream.
Bye, stream.
Suck a dick, stream.
Hey guys, glad you could be here. It's been a lot of fun. I had an awesome reveal of the new character, which actually, you know what I need to do? I need to go in here and I need to find... where is Mr. Jericho Tannhauser? Let's move everybody to the main screen. I think I kept everybody's tokens somewhere. Did I? There we go. Look at that. Jericho Tannhauser. So that'll be fun to see what Farron thinks about that next round. But I'm glad you all could be here. It's been a hell of a lot of fun. I'm going to take off, though. If you're watching us on YouTube, hi, hello. You can always hit the subscribe button. You always get notified. And that's a wrap. That's episode 41. Siege of the Empire. Glad you all could be here. It's been amazing. It's been fun. We'll catch you later.